Before we get started, I just wanted to do a quick audio check. On the bottom right is a chat box. If you could just say if you can hear me correctly or not. Wonderful, thanks, Gail. Wonderful, thank you, everybody. Well, good morning to today's webinar. Today we have Julie Rogers, National Business Development Manager from PONANT, joining us. Today she's going to walk us through their yacht cruises and expeditions. This webinar is the first of two webinars this year with PONANT. Our second one will be on the 12th of September, where we'll focus on small ship cruising as well. You can register for that webinar via the Clear Members Hub. While you're in the Clear Members Hub, don't forget that you can view their brochures under the brochure search menu. And we've also recently updated the Clear Learning Academy module with updated information about the PONANT Icebreaker and the PONANT Explorer ships. I'll now hand over to Julie, who will take over the presentation.
Thanks, Troy. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for coming onto the webinar. I am Julie Rogers, the National Business Development Manager. I look after Australia and New Zealand, and I'm just about to start looking after India and Asia as well. So today's webinar is actually on Antarctica. So we're doing a destination focused presentation, and I've put into the shared files an Antarctica video that you're welcome to download and use on your own digital media. So you can upload that onto your Facebook sites or your website. It's completely there for you to utilize. The reason that we're doing Antarctica and the reason that I've been asked to present today is that I've actually just returned from Antarctica. So I traveled with my husband and a small group of friends, and we actually booked as consumers and traveled on Le Soleil through Antarctica, South Georgia, and also spent a little bit of time in South America. So I'm delighted to be able to share my personal experiences so that hopefully this will help you sell Antarctica when you're talking to your clients. This year we're celebrating 30 years of PONANT's cruising history, and the great news is that we've actually been sailing to Antarctica for 20 years, so we have lots of experience and thousands of happy customers who have joined an expedition and explored this beautiful region with us. We just recently launched the Antarctica expedition cruise for 2019 and 20, so they're all available for you and your clients to purchase. We've also set up a new Antarctica hub, and this is a resource and a tool, and it provides you with some great information so that you can sell Antarctica and you can be an expert into this particular region. So there's lots of, because I understand that consumers ask lots of tricky questions, and it's difficult to answer these questions if you haven't traveled to Antarctica before. So we've put this hub together so that you can have the resources to be able to answer these questions. Of course, you can always contact the PONANT reservations and sales team, and they'll be delighted to help you. So I'll highlight some of the Antarctica hub and how it'll be useful for you when you're talking to guests. We'll go through the reasons to travel with PONANT in just a few minutes. The first thing I wanted to do was just highlight how the wide choices that are available with PONANT to explore Antarctica. As I said, we've been expedition cruising in Antarctica 20 years, and we'll actually have 4 of our ice class mega yachts in the Antarctica region. And that's because we're building 6 explorer ships that will cruise the rest of the world, and the 4 mega yachts, the ice class yachts, will actually be stationed to Antarctica for the Antarctica summer. There are 4 unique ecosystems in the Antarctica region. Of course, we have the Antarctic Peninsula, the Falkland Islands, South Georgia, and a new destination for us that we will be exploring in 2019-2020 is the South Orkney Islands. So we're delighted to be able to offer these wide choices and different destinations to your guests. And with that is differences in duration of cruises, so ranging from 10-night cruise all the way through to 20 nights. In this hub, there's lots of amazing images that we'd like to share with you and your clients. So all of these images are just a small snapshot of what I could fit on the screen. There's lots more for you to choose from. But when you're in this hub, and the hub is on our website, so it's easy to find. There's a you just hover your mouse over these images, and then it actually explains the image and tells you exactly where it is. And you're also able to download it so that you will have the high resolution images for your own digital media sites. You could make your own Facebook tile if you wanted to. Of course, we can also design them for you. So it's often good to have not only the images, but also the explanation behind the images, because what we've actually seen is that Antarctica is gorgeous everywhere. And sometimes you look at images, but you just don't know where they are. So this actually explains them for you, and you can then utilize them yourself. You can access our image library, as I mentioned, and you can download high-res images, as well as any of our videos that you can do your own digital media. This is a question that I'm asked all the time by consumers and travel agents. When is the best time to visit Antarctica? That's a really tricky question to answer because the best time to go is any time between November through March. And I know that experts or salespeople will tell you the month that they're trying to push, so whether it's November or February. But the truth is, any time between November to March is a great time for your clients to experience Antarctica. There are differences between the seasons, and that's an absolute fact. So what we've put in this hub is really simply explain to you so that you can share this with your clients, the differences between November, December, the highlights of January, February through to March. And I'll also explain to you when we come to my images what I loved about going in February. And certain people love different things. So for example, traveling to Antarctica in November and early December means that you will see the peninsula in the pristine white and the bright blues of the ice. The ice flow is starting to melt, it's breaking away. So you have these experiences with the ice. Also, the fauna, they're reproducing, they're setting up nests, so they're quite busy, and that's a spectacle to see as well. Whereas when you're coming through December, January, there's lots of whales through this area. So the humpbacks are through this area, particularly in December, January. I did see lots of whales in February though. But for example, on the 8th of January, 2018, this year, one of our ships, La Soliale, saw 108 whales breaching throughout the peninsula on the one single day. So that just tells you that if your clients love whales, then the best time for them to travel to Antarctica would be late December, early January to get the highest number of whales. And then we go through to February. So late January, February, the penguin, the babies are getting a little bit more independent towards the February, and the adults are going out during the day to fish and get food to feed their children. So from my perspective, going into Antarctica in late February was almost like walking into an unsupervised kindergarten where there's all these toddlers running crazy because there's no adults keeping them in check. And they're so curious. They're really fun to interact with and just watch them play. So that was definitely a highlight for me as well. And then the fauna will change as far as the seals, the bird life, etc. So lots of different aspects for you to consider. So this first page explains the seasons for the Antarctic Peninsula and South Georgia. And then the next page also explains the seasons of the Falkland Islands and the South Orkney Islands. So I guess that, as I said, I'd really like to reiterate, no time is better than than any other time throughout their summer, November through to February, very early March. It depends on what your clients are looking for, and I'll show you some images so that you can actually see the differences as we travel through the presentation. We have 47 Antarctica cruises, expedition cruises for your clients to choose from. So there's quite a few, and I'm sure that your clients will find something to absolutely fall in love with. Now, at the very base of the hub, when you actually go through this, and I will send you the link to make it easier for you, this is where you can do the searching depending on what your clients are looking for. I've just shown you that I've searched the destination, which is Antarctica, but you can also go to the drop down arrow and put the date that your client's looking for. If they're looking for a particular ship, so if they're looking for just L'Oreal or La Soleil, for example, that will be listed there as well. And then you can refine the search to determine what's best for your client. So another question I get asked a lot, and once again from consumers and also by travel agents, is why would a guest go to Antarctica with PONANT? Pardon me, because PONANT is a luxury yacht cruise and luxury expeditions. So why would we choose PONANT? And the answer is really simple. I've listed 8 reasons, and we'll quickly have a look at these, and then I'll give you one answer that you can share with your clients. Obviously, it's a proven experience, 20 years in Antarctica. We have an amazing team of ice specialists. Our expedition teams will enrich your client's experience, and they will come away from Antarctica with a renewed passion for how beautiful this planet is. I promise you that. That's definitely how I came away. Also, it's really important to remind guests that we do landings on Antarctica Peninsula and, of course, Zodiac safaris. So it's an authentic experience. Often people think because it's a luxury expedition, they're not getting an authentic expedition, but they're definitely true. 4 expedition ships. Our expedition ships are new, modern, and luxurious. And along with that is all of what you would expect from a luxury ship, like beautiful styling, great food, a choice of restaurants, it's an open bar, etc. Exactly what you'd expect from luxury. So I won't go into that. You're all experienced cruise consultants. And I'm sure you've already done the CLEAR training course with PONANT. Interestingly, PONANT carries more Australian and New Zealand guests than any other cruise line. Now that lands on Antarctica, any other similar company. That's not my statistics. I haven't made that up. That's actually the statistics from IATO. So in 2017, 840 Australians travelled with PONANT. The second company had 406 Australian passport holders, and that ship was built in 1972. So just wanted to put that into perspective for you, that more and more people are looking for authentic expeditions, but they want the luxury of new modern ships. So that's fantastic for us. Interesting expedition itineraries. I'll show you a few in just a few minutes. Amazing value. I'm sure you'll be surprised when I show you the pricing. And of course, we include the polar parka and the boots. They're all provided on board. So I don't expect you to remember these 8 things. Don't worry. The only thing I want you to remember about PONANT and Antarctica, in addition to our proven experience, is that we offer authentic expeditions combined with luxury. So we can offer both. Your clients can receive both things when they're traveling to the polar regions with PONANT. Now, Troy's going to show a very quick video. Thank you. So that's just a really quick video, just so that you can see exactly what it's like when you're discovering Antarctica with PONANT. Beautiful cruise ship, but we're in tune with the nature and we're really having these expedition experiences. As I mentioned, we have 47 cruises to Antarctica, and we have a few different types of experiences that your clients can actually have. This is our emblematic Antarctica. It's an 11-day expedition, so it's 10 nights on board the ship. And as you can see, it's $11,810. That's the lead-in price for an ocean view. And then, of course, we have opportunities for guests to go to the balconies. And that includes the return flights from Buenos Aires, all your meals, all of your drinks, all of the excursions. The only additional things to purchase are things from the boutique, and also if you wanted to have any treatments in the spa room. So it's great to know that that's included. And as you can see, we actually don't list exactly where we go in the on the peninsula. The reason for that is it's all ice and weather permitted. So we go to where the best weather is, the best ice, the best etc., so that we can maximize your clients' experiences. And when you're on expedition, it's really important to let your clients know that the itineraries can be changed to maximize the best experiences when we're in that area. So that's really good to know that we're able to do that. So let's just talk about the peninsula first. Of course, you all know it's the mythical white continent, and to access the sixth continent, we sail across the famous Drake Passage. Just so you know, the Drake Passage was the Drake Shake for me when I crossed, but we all handled it quite well. And we do have stabilizers on board, thank God, so that we could sit in leisure, continue to drink our lovely champagne and cocktails, and really enjoy the amazing scenery as we cross the Drake Passage. The scenery, I mean white-capped waves. Of course, in addition to the beautiful ocean, there's lots of bird life as we cross the Drake Passage. So probably the most famous is the great albatross, and there's lots of different varieties of albatross and petrels. The albatross is so intriguing because they're incredibly large. The wingspan of an albatross can be 14 feet. So you think about how tall you are. So I'm 5'5", and the wingspan is 14 feet. Huge, enormous, incredible birds, and they're seabirds. So you always see the albatross and the petrels out across the Drake and throughout the waters of Antarctica. So as we arrive at Peninsula's polar front, the light creates a mirror of reflections on the ice-covered landscape. So it's not just a white playground. It's beautiful blues and greens and incredible colours of the ice. And then, of course, as the season progresses and the ice is starting to melt, underfoot you've got the dark greys and the black soil of the different regions that we're visiting. So when you're here, you're just fascinated by this world of beauty. And of course, the wildlife is incredible. So what are the highlights? Obviously, in this area, the highlights are the Zodiac excursions and the shore visits. It's very simple. We hop onto the Zodiacs. It's easy to get on and off the Zodiacs. The marina is at the rear of the ship, and as long as your clients can step in and out of a vehicle, they'll certainly be able to get in and out of the Zodiacs. We have the expedition team at the landings waiting for them, and they help them get out of the Zodiacs. We provide the boots, so we know that they're waterproof and we know that they're suitable and their feet will stay warm. And we also provide the polar parkas, once again, so that we know that they're suitable for this region. And the biggest mistake people make is they're actually too hot when they're on the ice. They put all these layers on and you really can't peel the layers off. So you really only need to put maybe 2 layers of thin merino shirts, like the ones you get from Kathmandu, like 2 layers of those, and your polar. You put on your hiking pants, your waterproof pants, socks and boots, and that's it. You're warm enough. So honestly, people do make the mistake that they are quite hot. Other thing highlights, there are hiking opportunities. You can stay with the expedition guides and listen to them and learn from them, or you can go off and be independent and take some photographs, do a little bit of hiking. As soon as you land, you get a briefing, and then you can do as you please as you explore this particular region. There are some research stations and former whaling stations that we visit, just particularly in Deception Island. So there is some interesting human history that we can learn from this area. But to be honest with you, most people are just fascinated with the wildlife. So whether it's Gentoo, the penguin, the Adelie penguin, or the chinstrap penguins, they're absolutely beautiful and they're really curious. None of the animals, particularly when the babies are coming to age and becoming toddlers, some of them have never even seen humans. So they're so curious. They want to know who you are, what you do, what kind of weird looking penguin are you? That's what you are in their eyes. So you really do have these incredible experiences. And when we're not doing our landings, we'll actually go out on these zodiacs, and we're in groups of eight, about 8 people on the zodiac with our expedition guide and driver. And we'll go looking for some great photo opportunities, look for some marine life, and just go and watch the seals in action. Maybe we'll go do a little bit of whale watching, depends on what actually happens at the time. So the whales in the area are the minke whales, the humpback whales, and also the orcas. This photo was actually taken in late January, so this is why I wanted to show you the differences between the seasons. If you've got a guest who's really looking for that pristine white Antarctica on the peninsula, then I'd definitely recommend that they look at a November, December departure. If, however, that's not the highest priority, they're more into the wildlife, then perhaps look to go between January and February, or late December, January, February. So this photo was taken actually in mid-January. It's not mine, it's from our collection. And you can see in the forefront there that the snow has melted on the peninsula, and also you can see the snow they're standing on is not that white pristine because it's almost melted to the ground. So that's how a great way for you to explain that to your clients. And then the other opportunities for you to experience are further afield past the peninsula, and this is actually the holiday that I just did with my husband. It's called the Great Adventure, and it's the first and last cruise of the season. So it's a November or a February departure, and you can see when looking at the itinerary, it starts from Montevideo, so just in Uruguay, and comes down to South Georgia, down to the peninsula, back to Ushuaia, or either direction, as you can see. Look at the price. It's a 16-day Antarctic and South Georgia luxury expedition, $12,890. It's amazing. Now, the reason the price is so good is because there's only one internal airfare that's required. So that's obviously reducing the price for us instantly. I loved this holiday. It was amazing. But there are quite a few sea days. So if you've got guests who are not interested who want to cut down their sea days, I've got another one and I'll show you that in a few minutes. But this was a good compromise because it does South Georgia, it does the peninsula, and it was a good price that we could afford. So I purchased it as a consumer, the same way your clients would purchase it, and I'll share that information with you shortly. But for me and my husband, it was a great compromise because it's what we could afford, okay? So the differences between the peninsula and South Georgia. Now, South Georgia is a sub-Antarctic island. It's a region. It's actually a chain of underwater, it's an underwater mountain chain, so it obviously results in this beautiful mountainous scenery. And it's got lots of glaciers that run all the way to the sea, incredibly rich with black sand beaches. They play host to thousands of king penguins. So they're obviously the biggest attraction of this land, but also seals, beautiful opportunities for whale watching, ice flows, and incredible bird watching. If you have clients who are into birds, it's definitely a destination for you. I wanted to show this particular photo because look at the color of the water. So you can see in the background there's some beautiful greens, the glaciers, the black sand, and then this stunning blue water. This particular day, it was still a little bit chilly, but not too freezing. As you can see, I'm just in I don't have my parka on. I've just got a long sleeve merino t-shirt underneath. We had a barbecue on deck. So it was barbecued scallops, barbecued prawns, huge salads, rosé, French rosé. Everybody was in a fabulous mood because we spent the morning exploring and seeing these cute little guys, the king penguins. And then the afternoon, after we had lunch, we went to another area and we had this fantastic hike. It was about a 1.5 kilometers, so it wasn't very long, overlooking this incredible penguin rookery with hundreds and thousands of penguins. It was just fantastic. When your clients think of Antarctica, they are often thinking of South Georgia because they're looking for these David Attenborough experiences. So these are, Narelle, this is actually in Gold Harbour on South Georgia. So if your clients want to have this sort of experience with wildlife, definitely include South Georgia in their itinerary. This is one of the ladies I was traveling with, her name is Julie as well, and she basically just sat down and let the penguins come to her. We can't go to the penguins, we have to have 5 meters between us and them. So that's our rule, but of course the penguins never follow that rule. They're told continuously, they never follow it. And that's because they're curious. They want to know who we are. As I said, I travelled in February. These are all juveniles whose parents have gone out fishing for the day. They're unsupervised, they're curious, and they want to play. So this is actually me. This is my boot here. I was just sitting down, and this guy was on his belly, just like shimmering along, trying to find me. And obviously, I have my GoPro on my hand there, so I'm dying. I haven't looked at that video footage yet, but I'm dying to see exactly what that looked like. But just these experiences, these are like money can't buy moments that I'll remember for the rest of my life. In addition to the penguins, also lots of baby seals on South Georgia in February as well. So, and they're super playful. They are like puppies. So they come up to you just the same as like your dog would when you come home from work, and they want to talk to you and see what you're all about. Of course, we don't touch them. There's no patting, but they're just absolutely beautiful, and it really does give you this experience with wildlife. You can just sit down, watch the penguin world and their way of life. It completely unfolds in front of you. So I did promise you that there was an alternative if you've got guests who don't want the longer sea days, and which is what I experienced. And this is actually the #1 seller out of Australia and New Zealand for PONANT, and this is the Great Austral Loop. So when you're looking at the itinerary, you can clearly see it kind of ticking everything. So we've got the return flights from Buenos Aires, they're included in the price. We've got time in the Falkland Islands, time in South Georgia, and time on the peninsula, and then we come back to Ushuaia. So it really does give us an opportunity to see everything in this particular region. So as far as the Falklands are concerned, they're a British archipelago. It's very rugged terrain, and this is where nature offers stunning views, a wonderful spectacle. It's the last sanctuary of the black-browed albatross, and it's also home to a fascinating range of protected wildlife, in particular bird life. There's also some beautiful sandy beaches for us to do landings on in this area as well. So it's quite unique. So that's a really good option for your guests to consider. And as I said, #1 seller out of Australia and New Zealand. It does sell pretty quickly, so that one is available. And this is an itinerary that's quite unique. Not many ships are able to maneuver this far south, but of course all 4 of the PONANT ships have the 1C ice class, and they're able to cross the Antarctic Circle. So we're maneuvering further south and obviously making our way through different aspects of the sea ice and the icebergs, etc., to be able to cross the Antarctic Circle. And for many people, this is an opportunity to certainly check that box on their bucket list and be able to cross the circle. So it's actually a longer cruise, so giving us more time on the peninsula. So that's if someone wants that experience, and we're definitely able to deliver that. But as you can see, when comparing with other operators, it's still amazing value. There's nothing more to purchase. And then finally on the itineraries, this is the new itinerary that we've released just for 2019 and 2020. There's two options to do this particular itinerary. Once again, starting and finishing in Montevideo in Uruguay, which is a great city, by the way, if you've never been there. It's heaps of fun. It's a really interesting part of the world to explore. As you can see, this one includes South Georgia, the Falklands, the Peninsula, and a new destination for us, which is the South Orkneys. So the South Orkney Islands is an archipelago. It's 4 main islands, and it's 604 kilometres northeast of the peninsula. So when we're cruising to or from them, we will be having some of the experience through the Weddell Sea. So the highlight of this area is obviously it's surrounded by enormous icebergs and sea ice. So we'll see lots of opportunities to see the big sea ice as we're cruising this area. It's a mountain range that connects the South Orkney Islands to Antarctica. It's a submerged mountain range. So along with that is interesting marine life as well, and lots of whales through this area. On the islands, there's penguins nesting in moss beds, seals are feeding and mating, and also there's some human history on the South Orkneys as well. Both Britain and Argentina have meteorological stations, and we can actually go in and learn about the meteorological advances and the research that they're actually doing in this area. So that's a new itinerary to Ponant. So we're really excited to release that to our guests for season 19-20. So in summary, let's just go back to my first message, which is that it's authentic expeditions combined with luxury. The whole philosophy of Ponant is that we want your clients to feel like they're on a private yacht. So along with that is warm, casual elegance, warm service on board. It's an open bridge, so your clients will see the captain all the time. They can go into the bridge whenever they want to, but also the captain and the executive crew are always on shore. They're helping people in and out of the Zodiacs. There's no class system. It's very casual and relaxed on board, and it's a really nice way for your clients to experience Antarctica. As you can see here, I'm enjoying a glass of Verve while we were out on our very first Antarctic safari. Just in summary, I wanted to do a little bit of quick revision, and I'll just check my timing. Almost finished. The earlier your clients book, the better the savings. So we have the Ponant bonus, which means our cruises are released with 30% off the fare, and then as the cruise departure fills, the Ponant bonus reduces from 30 to 25, which means the cruise fare increases by 5%. As we sell more, it decreases to 20%, the bonus, which means the fare goes up another 5%. So ultimately, the earlier your clients book, the less expensive the cruise will be. They pay a deposit at the time of their booking, and the balance is due 3 months before they depart. So they don't pay the balance until 3 months before they go. So hopefully everyone's already aware of the Ponant bonus, but I still like to always explain it because it is unique to us, and it's a great way for your clients to travel to Antarctica at an affordable price to receive the luxury components that we actually include as part of the holiday. And then one last thing I wanted to say was a question that's always asked of me, and that is, what is the difference between the Arctic and Antarctica? Even when I came home, you know, my family said to me, "Oh, did you see polar bears?" Well, people never really understand the differences. There are 5 differences, but I'd like to just explain three of the main ones that are easier for us to understand. The first one is the geology. The Arctic is a sea of ice that's surrounded by land, and the countries that surround the Arctic are Canada, Alaska, which is part of the USA, Denmark, Russia, Norway, and Iceland. So the Arctic is a sea surrounded by countries, whereas Antarctica is a continent surrounded by ocean. Okay, and that's why the animals are different. So jumping forward, and I'll get to animals in a few minutes. In the Arctic, there's lots of varieties of animals, whereas in Antarctica, there's not as many varieties, but there's lots of them. Also, in the Antarctic, the animals aren't really they're not hunted at all, so they're not afraid of humans, and also they don't really have predators that are eating them. Sometimes, obviously, the sea lions will try and get the little babies, but generally they have a pretty fearless society, and that's why the penguins and the seals are so curious about humans, and they behave like puppies because they don't have predators that are looking for them. Whereas, of course, in the Arctic, it's the sacred land of the polar bear, one of the largest predators on the planet. Other predators are foxes, and there's more opportunity for the animals to be afraid of to be shy and a little bit trickier to find. And then, of course, the people. There's people inhabiting the countries surrounding the Arctic, which obviously has a big influence on the ecosystem in the Arctic, whereas in Antarctica, there's no indigenous people. So the only people who live on Antarctica now are the ones that are in research, and they're scientists. So there's no indigenous people that are living there. So there's a few other reasons, but they're the three main reasons that I always like to explain to people. And that information is on our hub as well, so that you've got that information at hand. As Troy mentioned, we do have some events coming up in May, so you and your clients can come along to those events. This is an image of the event team, the sales and events team. And this is actually an image of our PONANT Sydney office. So you can book PONANT with your preferred wholesaler in Australia and New Zealand. And we also have a reservations team in Sydney to assist you and your wholesalers to make sure that your clients have an amazing experience with PONANT. So thank you very much. There's a question here. Natalie said, which one am I? On this photo, I'm wearing the navy and white striped dress, not the red and white, black and white. So the navy and white. And the next question is, oh yeah, the reminder for the PONANT bonus. The PONANT bonus is really good and clients love it. And in addition to the PONANT bonus, you can combine everything else. So if your clients come to an event, they get 5% off anything they book, as well as the PONANT bonus. So that's potentially 35%. And if you have 5 or more people traveling on the one departure, which is what I did for Antarctica, we all got another 5%. So we got 30% PONANT bonus for booking early, 5% for booking at a show, which I hosted, and then 5% because in the end, there was 8 of us that went together, but initially there were 5. So 40% off is a great offer, good enough for me, who's a staff member, to get firm space. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you need anything, you're more than welcome to contact me, and I'll send a follow-up email with the link to that Antarctic hub and all of the cruises for you to offer to your clients. Thank you.